The market continues to hit new all-time highs, but what about your favorite stocks? Today we're going to look at Tesla, SoFi, HIMS, Nvidia, AMD, and Palantir, and we're going to rank these stocks. We're going to rank them from strong buy to strong sell or anywhere in between. And remember, all stocks are bad, even those guys, but every once in a while they act right. So let's get on with it here. First, let's start with Tesla. Now, we're going to use our Outlier 9 framework to give a objective score to how Tesla is looking today. So 40% of any stocks move is due to the market. 30% of the stocks move is due to the sector. And only the last 30% is due to the stock itself, due to Tesla itself in this case. So let's start with the trend, the signal, and the breadth of the market. So the overall trend of the market is definitely bullish. We see the 10 over the 20, price over the 50. That is our outlier trend template. That will always tell you if a stock is moving up with the 10 over the 20, price over 50. Now, that means we have a bullish trend in the market and we have a buy signal that's still active as of June 25th. So the trend is good and the signal is good. What about breadth? The market breadth crossed over a couple days ago, but I got to tell you, it's not as strong as you think it is right here. Right? We just had this bullish crossover, which measures how many buy and sell signals we have. But almost the same day, actually, the next day after we had that crossover, it's starting to wane already. And another thing to keep in mind is that this is the number of stocks in uptrends, which I just explained, versus downtrends down here. Number of stocks in the market like that. You can see it's not all that high. In fact, we have a new indicator right here that we are calling outlier channels. And you can see we're actually pushing lower on today. So the market breadth is kind of halfway there. So I'll give you market breadth. I will give you market breadth because it is still crossed over on the buy and sell signals, but it's not as strong as you could imagine. Now let's go to the sector. Tesla is in the discretionary sector. So let's move over to the discretionary sector here. And we can see down here on the bottom half of the page, everything you want to know for the sector. The sector fear and greed score is measured right here. Now, this is the individual stock fear and greed score. This is the average fear and greed score for everybody in the discretionary sector. And you can see it's actually peaked, came down a little bit, and starting to push back up. And then breadth on the sector, it did have the crossover here. But as you can see in this background right here, this is the number of stocks with that bullish uptrend versus bearish downtrend. And right here, it was actually a lot better, a lot stronger on Wednesday. And the time I'm recording this is actually coming down just a little bit. So I will still give you breadth on this, and fear and greed was rising. Now let's go to Tesla itself. Let's look at the trend, the signal, the fear and greed, and the outlier blocks. So the trend, it's still 10 over 20, price over 50. Even as of the moment that I'm recording this, it did have this big old nasty sell-off here after earnings, but 10 is still over 20, price is still over 50. That doesn't go under until that candle closes. So the trend is still there. Weak, but it's still there. The signal for Tesla, we still see a buy signal here on Tesla. In fact, those signals, I've generated 1,300% returns, 1,366.74% returns to be specific. So that's still good. Fear and greed on Tesla, even after this sell-off here, it's still greedy, but not quite as greedy as it was before, contracting only slightly. But I'm going to give you a bearish posture on fear and greed. But on the outlier blocks, we do have some contentment here, right? This big green order block down here would be considered a bullish order block, meaning this is an area of support. This is where people are going to step in and buy Tesla and push it up even higher. So I'm going to light that up green. So this is an 8 out of 9. This Tesla is a strong buy. Tesla is a strong buy, aisle 9. Tesla, strong buy, aisle 9. All right, we've looked at Tesla. Let's go to SoFi. SoFi, remember the trend, signal, and breadth. We're going to market the same on all these stocks for SoFi because it's still in the same market. Let's go to SoFi. So I'm going to close Tesla, pull over to SoFi. Now we're in the financial sector. Financial sector breadth is not good. All right, you can see here less and less stocks with buy signals. And in fact, the number of downtrends is starting to push down as well. So that's not going to help us. The fear and greed is moving more towards fear, less towards greed. So we're not going to get anything right here in the sector. How about on SoFi, the stock itself? Well, it's not looking so great either. A sell signal right here at the top. We have a sell signal. In fact, these signals have generated only 226%. And with the 10 over 20, price over 50, still has a bullish trend. So bearish signal, bullish trend. Fear and greed on SoFi is going down. It's going down hard and fast. So we're going to leave that red. And then any outlier blocks on top of SoFi? Yeah, there definitely is. People are ready to take their money up here on SoFi. Now, it had this big, beautiful, giant trend. In fact, an outlier, you had a buy signal back here on June 20th, which was way back here. Huge move up, blew through these historical order blocks and continued to push higher and higher and higher. Let me know what you think. Do you think SoFi is going to push higher? We got earnings here in a couple days. Looks really, really risky to me. Really risky to me, right? We have some bearish points, we have some bullish points, but overall, SoFi actually gets in the weak sell category, if you can imagine that. The signal, the fear and greed, and the outlier blocks are working against it. The sector's not helping it. SoFi goes into weak sell for me. Whew. All right, let's move on and get past SoFi. Let's get to HIMS. Oh, before we do that, though, let me introduce myself. I am just a random guy on the internet, so don't listen to anything that I have to say. But my name is Christopher Ewell. I've twice been awarded top 100 people in finance. I was mentored by 5 of the market wizards, the best traders of all time. I've been successfully trading since 2009, and this is where outliers like us save time, make money, and start winning with less risk together as a team. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. We go live twice a day, every day. So next, let's look at HIMS. Let's look at HIMS. Looking at HIMS here, this is now in the staples sector. Okay, so let's start ranking this dude. This market will not change. We're now in a new sector. The sector is super strong. So we have more and more buy signals. The sector trends are also starting to look high. So I'm going to give you the breadth. I'm going to give you fear and greed on this. Oh yeah, look at the average fear and greed score in the staple sector, moving up super duper strong, super high. Lastly, let's go look at the stock. So we have a 10 over 20 price over 50 with a buy signal on HIMS. So we got a trend that's bullish with a buy signal. How about the fear and greed? While it is still going waffling between fear and greed, it is currently pushing up higher right now. So that greed is definitely coming through. We'll give you that. And then anything on top of HIMS, let's take a look over here. No, I don't see any outlier blocks on top of HIMS. Now, you will notice here on the chart, we are doing a little bit of testing on HIMS right now, a little bit of testing to improve our trading strategy over here. So I'm watching HIMS like a hawk, and I'm also watching the fact that it has no outlier blocks, and holy moly, we got another strong full strong buy signal over here on HIMS. Aisle 9 was Tesla. Aisle 16, pick up your HIMS. Strong buy at this point. Dadgum, I didn't realize we'd have a 9 of 9. All right, let's continue on to Nvidia. Looking at this, right? Let's look at the sector and the market. Of course, the market won't change. We're now in the tech sector for the last 3 stocks. Tech sector is not looking so brilliant, right? We're getting less and less buy signals. I would even consider that crossed over if it's not already, and less uptrends. So breadth is going to be negative for me here. The average fear and greed score is actually starting to move down. It is starting to move down. It's ever so slightly, but it is starting to move down. So the sector is not going to help you out here on Nvidia. Let's go look at the trend of the stock. 10 over 20, price over 50, big, beautiful trend. Buy signals still active. Buy signals have shown 1,777.23% returns. That's crazy. So trend, signal, fear and greed on Nvidia. It peaked really high, and it is slightly, ever so slightly higher. So we're going to get fear and greed there, and then any outlier blocks on top of Nvidia. I would imagine not. Oh, actually, I was wrong. I was hella wrong. Look at that. It's sitting right inside of here, just like SoFi did right over here at the top. That's not bullish to me. In fact, I'm telling you right now, if I saw this and everything else had lit up on Nvidia and I was ready to trade it and I saw an outlier block, I wouldn't trade it. That's areas of support and resistance that I don't want to mess with. So that's going to stay red, which leaves Nvidia as a weak buy. Nvidia will be a weak buy for me. How about AMD? AMD, everybody loves AMD all of a sudden, right? They sure loved it as it was crashing down for months and months and months. If you wanted to just set your money on fire, AMD was the best fire to throw your money into. But then it changed, right? The outlier trend template reversed over here on May 7th. And if you are an actual trader, an actual investor, somebody who actually wants to make money in the market and not just throw it in a hole and wait for 8 months for it to come back, you would pay attention to things like this, okay? When the 10 goes over the 20, price goes over the 50, just like it did on May 7th, that will put you in the line of the trend. That's where you want to be. And rather than waiting for it to just get back to break even, if you bought it, geez, how far back do we have to go? If you bought it in October, for it to just get back to break even now, how many months is that? Like 1,700 months later? I can't even count that high. 1,700 months later, AMD is finally back to break even if you bought it in October. Or you could wait for the trend template and run with the trend template, and you'll be to profitability that much faster. All right, that's what I'm trying to teach you here on AMD. The market's not going to change. The sector's not going to help it either. And all three of the last three here will be in the same sector. Let's look at the trend of the stock. It is still in a big, beautiful, bullish trend. This buy signal came and has been active for ages and has been getting more and more greedy for months at this point. Man, AMD is gorgeous. Anything on top of AMD? It does have an outlier block on top of it. Let's see, how far away is that? That is 6.79%. My rule of thumb is 2%, so I'll give you that one. Not quite a strong buy. This is a weak buy for me. An 8 of 9 would get you strong buy. Not here. We are close with a 7 of 9. Let's actually, you're probably asking yourself at this point, what is outlier and how does it work? Well, old Uncle Warren used to say, be fearful when others are greedy, greedy when others are fearful. Outlier shows you if investors are acting irrationally fearful or greedy and by how much, allowing you to get in the stock before the outlier move happens. Now, if you're ready to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk, it's just 3 easy baby steps. Step 1, head over to outlier.com, grab the annual pass for just 82 cents a day. That's 64% off the regular monthly price. If you're on the monthly plan, click the red button to save 64% off the regular monthly price. Step 2, start using Outlier 9. I'm showing you specifically, exactly, step by step how to do that here right now today. And step 3, sit back and relax because you just found the easiest way to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk. All right, let's go to our final stock, Palantir. This isn't going to change. Boom, boom, boom. This isn't going to change either. Let's go look at Palantir real quick, right quick. And Palantir, we can see the sector's not going to change. Has a sell signal. It's getting less greedy, more fearful in a bullish trend. So trend is still green. That's red. That's red. And any outlier blocks on top of Palantir. Let's see. Yes. Oh, no. It just blew through this one today. This is Friday when I'm recording it. It just blew through this today. So it will close, meaning it'll actually get that. Now, that's not very good either. I would call this a weak buy. I would call Palantir a weak buy. Now, remember, all stocks are bad. Even the favorite stocks out there, all stocks are bad, but every once in a while they act right. And if you're ready to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk, YouTube just popped up 2 videos over here. I want you to click on one of them, and I want you to have a fantastic day. We will talk soon.